What do you remember about 95? Is there anything we might not know? And here's my last one. I asked Javi Lopez the other day, and I asked Glavin, the hitters meeting for the pitchers. Javi said something interesting. He said, we knew how good they were. We see the numbers. But our pitchers were not going to do anything different. That's when you know you have the right staff. I'm not playing in your world. You're going to play into my world. What was it like in the hitters meeting, Hershiser, Martinez? Do you remember what it was like going into that series?
Yeah, I can remember the fact that we knew we were going to have to score some runs. It was a staff that we were more concerned about the back end of the staff, meaning Mesa, Ossenmacher. With our lefties, Ossenmacher was going to play a huge role in that series. We were not particularly worried about Nagy and Hill and Martinez. We knew we were going to have some success off of those guys because, let's face it, they're right-handed. They were not, dominant 10, 11, 12 strikeout guys. They pitched to contact. It was mostly Jose Mesa, and you'll see we hit Mesa pretty good, throughout the course of that series. And we were ready for him when he came in. Ossenmacher, I think we even scored some runs off him. We knew that we were going to have to win some games late, and the back end of our bullpen was going to have to expound upon what we knew the starters were going to do.
All right. You get to know Tomei well. You get to know Eddie Murray well, Hall of Famers, that you have a relationship that goes beyond the baseball field. It actually goes all the way to Cooperstown. Do you remember thinking about watching that lineup as you're standing at third, or just
scary?
Yeah.
I was terrified. I was so terrified that Albert Bell was going to hit a ball down there and it was going to go right through me. They had a scary team anyway. I mean, they get off the bus and you're like, damn. Every guy is 6'3", 225, 230, 240. They had this look like the 27 Yankees, I would imagine, looked like. A lot of their power was, they had some lefty power that I wasn't really worried about. My job was to make the top two guys, meaning Lofton and Vizquel, swing the bat. They were not gonna bunt on me. I was gonna be right in their hip pocket, and I don't think they got any bunt base hits in that whole series. But the whole key to our success against them was keeping those two guys off base, and we did that pretty well.
Yeah, he was a hell of a table setter. Yeah. I didn't enjoy his time here, and I've been open. I'm not asking you, but I thought Lofton here was not a good fit in a few different ways.
Right.
But he was. If you go look at his numbers, if you go look at his career, he's.
Well, there have been a couple of hitters leading off games that we've played against through the years. That if they went off and had good games, we were losing, and I can throw Jose Reyes in that discussion. He was a dynamic leadoff hitter. Juan Pierre,
yep.
Kind of the same dynamic as Lofton and Vizquel, Juan Pierre and Castillo down in Miami during their heydays. When those two got off and set the table for Cabrera, Miggy, and those guys, it was going to be a long night.
All right, we got 2 minutes. We're going to finish up. And again, thank you for your time. I got to ask you, the David Justice headline, you wake up, 95, you're new to the game, relatively speaking. You're new to the World Series and the pressure that comes with it. You have a chance to clinch. How quickly did you realize, I'm not saying you were listening to sports talk radio. I've been doing this 31 years. I don't know if there was a hotter day. 28-3, the day after the Super Bowl, ridiculously hot. For the infancy of sports talk radio and the David Justice thing to happen was incredible in this town. Mm-hmm. And then he gets booed his first time up, and you're living in the middle of it. What are your thoughts as you look back to that?
Only one guy could have been able to handle that kind of stress and pressure, and it was David. David's kind of like Smoltzy. The brighter the lights, the better David is. My second reaction was why? Why does that have to come out now? Why does that have to be said at this particular time? But you have to know David. He can sometimes be very militant, and he doesn't particularly like talking to the media, or didn't, and he made a mistake, but it certainly motivated him to go out, and like he said in some of the specials, he heard a couple of claps, a bunch of boos, and he said, I'm going to play for those people clapping tonight. And he put it on the back burner, and he went out and won us a championship.
The Dogpile itself, and we'll finish with this. Explain what that moment is like as you realize Marquise is camped under it. You've seen 1,000, 2,000, 8,000 fly balls. What's the wait time, the hang time? Does it feel like it's
slow motion,
yeah.
Standing still up until one point, and then this just culmination of sheer joy. Nobody really knows what to do. Javi and Woe, they look like they had it all planned out, and then they're hugging, and I get there and nobody's hugging me, and I'm just kind of looking around, making sure I don't take a stray, cleat to the face or something. And then we just go over, and I'm on top of them, and then everybody piles on, and it's a little scary because you have thousands of pounds of humanity on top of you, but you just you cover your head, you wait until
peel off,
the darkness clears and you can see the light again.
But I will, again, not to get deep, but I think it's one of the last bastions where grown men are truly allowed to act like children.
Yeah.
That moment.
Well, that's the culmination of 200 baseball games when you include spring training, regular season, and playoffs. The amount of preparation, practice, travel, games, sacrifices, everything that we always say is a part of championship teams, it comes to a culmination right there, and we'll act like 5-year-olds out there at that point.